Do we really have to go through all this now? I'm very old. I'm very unwell. And dredging up all these memories is not good for one. Katherine Parr. Let's go back to the beginning, shall we? You see, Thomas Seymour was in love with her and she with him. And he came to me and said, "My lord, I want you to meet this Lady Latimer, who was a widow and working in one of my daughter's households north of London in Hatfield House." So I rode up there with Tom to meet her. The idea was I was supposed to give her my approval for the marriage. But of course, it didn't turn out like that, because the moment I met her, there was something between us, something that I'd not come across before. And that something was me meeting someone who I regarded as my intellectual equal. My education meant that I was cleverer than most of the people around the court, notable exceptions. But she immediately held a conversation with me. She could talk about theology, she could talk about armament, she could talk about mathematics, astronomy. Very learned woman, and that's something that I hadn't had before. She wasn't just going to be a bauble. She wasn't just going to be a plaything. She was going to be a proper wife. I think that getting Thomas out of the way and sending him to the Low Countries to be an ambassador was a good move, because it meant that I felt less guilty about marrying her. And she agreed, for whatever reason, to marry me and put her love aside. Maybe it was her love of country which came first. I don't know. We just got on. I was so poorly by this stage. She needed to come every night and clean my ulcers on my legs, and she did it with a smile on her face, bless her. But I didn't just want a nursemaid. I wanted a companion. Maybe the physical aspect of our relationship was not going to be there because I was too far gone, but at the same time, I didn't want to be treated like an old fool. I wanted someone who would be inquiring. Their mind would ask me my thoughts on things, and it meant that we could have discussions, if we wished, into the wee small hours. Where does she get this from? From her mother, Maud. What a woman she was by reputation, my godfather. And she came from, born in London, but came from Kendal. She was brought up there in the hard north of the country. And it meant that she had a soft centre, but a steely edge to her. And this steely edge she demonstrated through her education. She could speak Latin, Greek, all the modern languages. She wrote books herself. That impressed me. But she read things she shouldn't have read. It has to be said that she had flirted dangerously with the Lutheran texts. Martin Luther's writings had been banned. I was told that she was reading them, and I was furious. We found the texts under her bed. The death warrant had been written. She was 2 weeks away from losing her head. But we managed to sort it out. We managed to talk to each other. We managed to find a way around this seemingly insurmountable problem. And it meant that in the grand scheme of things, of course, she would probably outlive me. I don't know how you regard women who have been married many times. She'd been married twice before she married me. Once to a much, much older man. And there was 20 years between us. Now, I didn't feel that that was a terrible gap. But my infirmity, of course, would get the better of me. I became more and more poorly and less affable. She smiled through this. It was written that if I was to go before her, she would retain the title of Dowager Queen, and that she would be responsible for my children, but she wouldn't reign. I did write that she wouldn't reign alongside my boy Edward, but that she would retain a sort of position as their stepmother and have more to do with the girls, because it's her persuasion that put the girls in the line of succession. I die knowing that if Edward does not marry and have a male offspring, that the girls will rule. So it could be, when it comes to it, the king is dead. Long live the queen.